to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Oh, yeah, we got to get the board ready. Forgot about that. I just said the messages. Trev, when you get a chance, can you wipe down this entire board and put 14 random hockey players on there? Yep. Beautiful. We're going to spin that wheel of unders today. We're going to get that done. We'll do that. I've been panicking. I've been in full-blown panic for the last hour and a half because my laptop wouldn't power up even when it was plugged in. I was full-blown freaking out. And you know who saved the day? None other than the COO of Edmonton Sports Talk, Matthew Iwanek. Has some sort of magic trick with a laptop where you hold down the power button for 10 minutes with the power cable unplugged. Not 10 minutes, 10 seconds. Then you plug it back in, and it worked. So crisis averted. I'll be backing up my computer as soon as I'm done working today. But, man, I was panicking there for a second. So we'll get the wheel of unders done up. Trev, just make sure on Coolbet they have player prop. So just hop on that player prop page at Coolbet, and we'll load that up for later in the show. Huss is ready to go. It's a Lock Shop presented to you by Coolbet. If you haven't yet signed up for an account, you're going to want to do that. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do. Jeremy in WSP says, Dusty, does he get a point for that? I gave him 5 points for that. I yelled it out to the entire office. I said, +5 for Matty. He saved the day with my laptop. Huss, what's going on, man?
Well, what's going on? I'm looking forward to this Thursday night or tonight. I am intrigued to spin the wheel of unders today.
Yes.
5 times. And bet it. And I'm still not over the Mets game last night. I was at the Jets-Flames preseason game.
I saw you say you almost threw your phone on the ice.
Dude, I'm sitting there and whatever, it's a preseason game. Some people are there, some people aren't. And by the time the 8th inning came on, let's just say I was locked in on the iPhone 16 a little bit more than what was happening on the ice. And that, oh, God, I just about said it. That damn home run, like the first one, I don't know why they left that guy in. And then the second nuke that put them up 5-3, it was like, okay, they played with fire too much. So it sucked that we didn't win the double play. I will say this. It does give us a game tonight because
that's true.
The Tigers, Royals, and Padres took care of business. How about the Royals, man? I mean, and you know what? The Baltimore Orioles, you want to talk about a team, and you as a Jays fan must take some solace in the fact that with that loss, Baltimore now has the longest postseason losing streak in Major League Baseball.
10 in a row?
As opposed to the Toronto Blue Jays.
That does help. But then you watched the Blue Jays availability yesterday, and it didn't really help much at all. So,
listen, just quickly on that. I was surprised that they decided that they were going to come back with Atkins and Shapiro. I am absolutely stunned that John Schneider is going to be the manager next year of the Blue Jays. I mean,
how do you run that back? How do you run it all back? Like
supposed to be just some sort of an off year. And I don't know if you saw the cover of the Toronto Sun today. Like, say what you will about the Sun chain.
I didn't even know the Toronto Sun still existed.
Dude, their front page today was about the Blue Jays, and I can't even remember what the
I'll try to look it up.
Was. But it was it said, the Jays, the biggest success of the year was Looney Dogs.
Well, they sold them for $700,000.
It had Atkins and Shapiro wearing hot dog costumes.
This is one of the best newspaper covers I've ever seen.
It's so good.
It says in huge letters at the top, wieners and losers. They hit a home run with Looney hot dogs this year, but that's it. Jays brass grilled about pathetic season, but come up with same stale answers. And then there's Photoshop pictures of both men in hot dog costumes, one of them waving a little mini Blue Jays flag. Ouch.
It seriously might be there should be some sort of a Pulitzer Prize or some sort of newspaper award for the best cover / headline. You folks in Toronto with the Sun chain, you did it. Incredible work today. I'm not sure about the rest of the publication, but the front page today was absolutely 5-star.
I'm tweeting it out right now. I mean, go and check it. I mean, this is a burn. If I've it looks like something that was photoshopped by somebody else to try to send a message. It's Damn. Oh, wow. And the tweet that I found it was actually from the Toronto Sun account. Like it wasn't even somebody like took a picture of the paper and put it up. The Toronto Sun was like, check out our front page for Thursday, October 3rd. Oh, that is savage. Wow.
So get on over to
Deserve it.
Get on over to X, everybody, and check out the that newspaper.
Jake in the chat says I'm getting that frame covered.
Yeah.
Or that cover framed, yeah.
Wow. Man, I didn't even have the balls to text Patty and Jake in the group chat about how they felt about the availability yesterday. I think I know the answer.
We had Jake on our show this morning. He'll be on Lock Shop coming up here in about 25 minutes too to help us with the Thursday nighter, and we'll have to talk to him about it. We had Jake on. He goes, I'm not talking about the Blue Jays anymore. Like he's done. Plus it's Leafs optimism season. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He goes, but in like a week and a half, you could see me absolutely melting down on the Leafs as well. I was like, that's my favorite part of Jake. That's who Jake is. So yeah, that's tough. So Huss, is there a Mets bounce back coming here? What do you think? Just quickly on MLB before we get into CFL picks today and all that stuff.
I feel it's sort of like poker. I kind of feel like I'm pot committed with the Mets, even though I mean, it's been 2 games. We've won 1, we've lost 1.
It's also like the only thing you've missed in 10 days. So
seriously, dude, I was looking. I had 9 straight settled bets that were winners.
Unbelievable.
But I put a small bit on the Bills on Sunday night that lost, and then I had winners before. Like it has been.
We were joking today when I had Jake on that with the heater you're on right now, you could go to that 7-Eleven where you get your groceries and you'd find a $20 bill sitting outside us. I swear to God, that's the type of roll you're on right now.
If that happened, I'd just give it to the people living outside the South. But,
you're a man of the people. I love it. they take the money and then be like, "Hey, Huss, also thanks for the double play parlay a couple days ago. That was great."
Let's just this game tonight though. Mets are plus 113, Brewers minus 133. Just getting on to today, which is Thursday.
Yeah, bringing up the pitching matchup here. What do we got?
Quintana and Myers. This is so close. I mean, there'll probably be a play, and I think it'll just be a smaller play on the Mets. Have some fun, watch the game along with it. With the football game, of course, tonight, which I think will be my main focus.
And did you see their head-to-head this season? I didn't realize this. Like, I'm just looking at covers.com right now. Their head-to-head, their last 10, the Mets won those 2 at the September 29th, October 1st. They have lost 8 of their last 10 against the Brewers. Like, the Brewers had won at least 7 in a row against the Mets prior to I
wonder
wins.
when they played. I mean, that's just the one caveat of the Mets season. I mean, they were, the Mets at the end of June or right around June had a playoff probability of like 6%. And you know what turned their entire season around? The Hawk Tua girl throwing out the first pitch.
Was it her or was it Grimace? I wasn't sure. It was one or the other, right?
They gave a seat to Grimace, and I think they sort of dove in on that one. But
okay,
she's getting a lot of love. They had her dressed up as Mrs. Met. Mrs. Met, by the way, maybe the hottest mascot in all of mascotting.
Is that an actual? I did not know Mrs. Met. Let me look this up.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Met is built like Jessica Rabbit or something like that. There was there was quite the quite the kerfuffle when they dropped the Mrs. Met uni last year. But anyways, I saw something yesterday of Mrs. Met taking off the head, and it was Haley Wells. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna just use her real name, but I don't know, man. I can't wait for the Royals and Yankees. Like the Royals.
Slay the dragon, my man.
Listen to this, and this is one of the craziest stats. And let me pull it up because I don't want to misquote it. But Rainey Jaserly, who has been he's a great source of really interesting stuff on the Royals. This stat is going to blow your mind. Going back to Game 5 of the 1985 World Series, the Royals have gone 27-9 in their last 36 postseason games.
Jeez.
Okay, that's the first part of this. The second part of it is the Royals have not had a 27-9 stretch during the regular season at any point since 1985. Like, they just, when they get to the playoffs, this team comes together. Bobby Witt might be the Patrick Mahomes of baseball.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Hey, you clip that. Clip that.
Clip that and save it.
This guy is such a stud, and I think they signed him to an 11-year deal. Like,
how much was that deal worth?
For
oh man,
for a small market team to be able to pull that off, and let's face it, they lost 106 games last year. Then he comes in, wins the batting title in the AL. They make the playoffs. They've now swept the Orioles, and
11 years, $288 million.
Yeah, what do you think that contract would be if they had to sign him this summer?
Oh, that's a good point. They got it.
400.
They got it at just the right time, man.
It doesn't sound like they're buying low, if you will. But I mean, much like when the Chiefs got Mahomes on that 10 or 12-year deal or whatever. I mean, they have their superstar and their franchise cornerstone for the next decade, and he's already paying dividends. I mean, the turnaround in this team's been nuts, and even, I mean, listen, I followed the team throughout the year on and off, but their starting pitching was really good. They hit some homers at times, but their bullpen was very concerning. And now all of a sudden it reminds me of, 2014 and 2015 when you had Wade Davis and the gang out there going 7, 8, 9. That's going to be a fun series. And I know there's a lot of people that just without any skin in the game will be pulling for Kansas City. It's like cheering for the Yankees is like cheering for the house in blackjack, like cheering for the dealer. So we turn that on. Series prices are out in that one. We cashed the Royals plus 150 yesterday in a sweep. Royals are plus 180 in this one. Yankees minus 222.
What do we got in that Padres matchup?
And that isn't up yet. Oh, sorry. The single game is up, but I'm only
series is not though. You're right. I don't see it either.
And here's just one other quick thing before we move off of baseball. How bizarre is it that it's the Yankees and 3 AL Central teams that are still hanging around? Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah,
Detroit
you don't see
Tigers,
that very often.
Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
The fact, I mean, with the expanded playoff, the fact that 3 teams made it, and now, I mean, you've got this Guardians Tigers series. These teams have probably played each other 20 times already this season.
Say that again. Sorry, Tommy was looking for a hammer and nails. I think he's going to try to kill Reed Wilkins with a hammer today instead of with a cookie like yesterday. Unbelievable.
But yeah, Cleveland and Detroit have probably played 20 times this season already. So we can dig in. That is a series that I think will have a lot of head-to-head, data, whatever, from the season to sort of dive into.
Let me ask you this, Huss, as we continue to kind of dive into baseball playoffs here moving forward. From a Major League Baseball perspective, how badly do they want Yankees, Dodgers, Ohtani, Judge? I just feel like that'd be the most watched World Series in a long time. Like, Ohtani had a phenomenal year. Judge beat him in a lot of categories. Like, I want to see Kansas City have success for you. I've adopted the Padres, but the straight up sports fan in me has a lot of time for a Dodgers, Yankees, Ohtani, Judge World Series.
Well, listen, I can't stand the Yankees. I'm basically right there with the Dodgers for just buying all the players. But it's not like I wouldn't be watching it. I mean, to your question, yes, Rob Manfred is holding a prayer circle right now in Major League Baseball head office that the Dodgers and the Yankees can get through. I'll tell you what, though, do not sleep on the Padres. The Padres have played the Dodgers very, very tight this year.
They're the only team in the league that was hotter than them since the All-Star break. Like, that's the 2 hottest teams in baseball since the All-Star break. So,
and
heavyweight
great rivalry. great rivalry between those teams and fan base.
I was stunned last night. I was watching the beginning of the Padres game, and they had the bases juice with nobody. Did you see this? They had the bases juice in the first inning with nobody out. And I was like, oh, man, this is it. Like, they're going to finish this thing right here. And sure enough, the Braves got out of the jam, didn't even allow a run. And I'm like, okay, well, this could be concerning. And then the Padres right away after that bounced back, bang, bang, kind of got ahead of things, and that was it, hung on for the win. But, yeah, man, base, and even the way they got the bases juice was weird. One bounced off the pitcher. Another one was a really, really close play that Tatis just beat out at second. And they didn't even hit a ball out of the outfield and had the bases loaded with nobody out. And they didn't catch anything. It was crazy. That was fun last night. I watched a good chunk of that game last night. It was a good time.
Well, tonight, it's 6:08 Winnipeg time. So just after 5 p.m. in Edmonton, it's the Mets and the Brewers. Mets plus 113, Brewers minus 133. Winner will move on, I guess, and take on the Phillies. And then, as we mentioned, Tigers, Guardians, Royals, Yanks, Padres, and Dodgers. And those series don't get underway until Saturday. Then how about this Monday night for Kansas City sports fans? The Royals will be taking on the Yankees in the ALDS at the same time as the two-time defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs play on Monday Night Football against the Saints. What a time to be alive.
Oh, that is going to be good. Mark from Lethbridge, one more on baseball. Mark from Lethbridge texts in and says, guys, I hate the decision, but I've stopped believing that anything will change. Shapiro means Atkins. Atkins means Schneider. It's terrible, and it's not at all surprising. So, yeah, I mean, kind of made their bed here with the Blue Jays.
Jake will agree. We'll poke him a bit later on.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into him a little bit for sure. All right, Huss, Canadian Football League. 3 games, no line movement really at all. So first time in a while we haven't seen any sort of significant line movement in a week. But we got 3 games to get to. Starting with the Bombers and Ticats. Winnipeg, 4-point road favorites in this one. I'll just start here. I'm on the Ticats at home, +4. I don't know how you fade Boveralls right now. I mean, it's been a fabulous run. Their defense has been better since Chris Jones came on board. You've mentioned it multiple times. Other Winnipeg people have to me as well, how the Bombers have not had a lot of success going out to the hammer. Ticats, I mean, this is simply a must-win football game for them, and they continue to find a way. So I don't mind getting a home team here in this situation that I just talked about, +4. I like it.
Did you not learn anything the last couple of weeks when the Elks were playing the Bombers?
Fair enough.
We all thought that they were the hottest team in the league, kind of like when BC was the hottest team in the league going into that home and home earlier this season. Listen, folks, the Bombers are back. The Bombers are back. And I'll say this. In a different scenario or situation or season, I think I might actually be on the Ticats on this side.
Really?
Just in that the Bombers, listen, I've watched a lot of these games. They've just, year after year, they've gone and just kind of thrown up duds in Hamilton, with the exception of when they played the Ticats in the Grey Cup, which is a pretty big caveat to it. The thing that's different is that the Bombers used up all of their mulligans. They used up all the bad luck, the bad plays, everything at the start of the season, and now they are absolutely rolling. And I mean, the way they performed last week against the Elks, Zach Caleros with 6 TDs, putting up the 50 burger, like they are just rolling right now. And I don't see them kind of taking their foot off the gas at all. They can potentially clinch the West this week if they win and Saskatchewan beats if the Elks beat Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, a nice little combo card for the community, is also a Bombers clinch the West parlay. I got a lot of respect for what Bo's done and kind of Hamilton being able to find a way to win these games, and they've got a lot of momentum. But I said the exact same thing about Edmonton, and the Bombers just absolutely destroyed them in 2 weeks. So until further notice, I'm betting the Bombers. And I mean, listen, the line is fair. The line is fair with it being 4 points. But I just kind of feel that they're the better team right now in all areas. Their offense is going, their defense is elite. And we'll see just how hot the Hamilton Tiger Cats are when they play Winnipeg. So I
think the difference between Edmonton going in and Hamilton is, like even going into that Winnipeg series, as pumped as we were about Edmonton, they beat an awful Calgary team twice. They beat the Riders with Shea Paterson. They beat the Lions with Dolagala at quarterback. Like there really wasn't that signature sort of win. Whereas the Ticats, the 4 that they've won here, they beat a pretty good Argos team twice. They beat the Red Blacks, and then they went out and won in BC against the Lions. Like it's not like they've taken advantage of I guess Hamilton is the Calgary out east, but they've also scored 31, 37, 33, and 32 points in those games against playoff bound teams, all of them. So I think it's a little bit different. You make a great point on the Bombers. They're absolutely clicking right now, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know, +4. I think I got to side with the Ticats still.
Yeah, listen, I hear it. I mean, I think there'll be people.
You are right. It's a good number. It's a good number
on both sides. I mean, it's fair. I kind of thought that the Bombers might be bigger favorites just as a reaction to what's happened over the last little bit and kind of not really believing in Hamilton. But with what they did last week, they were there. Just while we're on this topic for a minute, and Hammer and I got into this yesterday on CFL 110. Have you? Oh my God, Brady Oliveira's down to +105.
Holy smokes.
Fajardo -133. Brady now +105. I can't believe we got that in the lock shop at 14-1 last week. If he wins it, that will be one of the bets of the year. We can clip that
definitely
to the SDs next
for the
year.
SDs spot. Brady Oliveira MOP.
But Bo's at 10-1. Now, listen, they have to win out and get a little bit of help if they're going to make the playoffs. But if Hamilton can win this week and make that happen, and I think you'll basically be able to look next week at what that number is, and I bet it goes down significantly
if they win this week. Oh yeah,
beat Winnipeg. But based on all of the numbers that he's put up, if Hamilton gets off the mat and somehow makes the playoffs, I think Bo's going to be the Eastern nominee and will have a very good chance of potentially winning this award.
I don't think,
whoa,
there's not even an argument you're going to get from me there.
One other big change that's happened from yesterday to today that I didn't see. Roland Milligan has gone from 60-1 to 20-1. So there's been some big moves put on Milligan.
Well, if you want to talk about bets of the year, I know a bunch of the TSN crew was on Milligan at like +10,000. Like 4 or 5 weeks into the season. So I wonder why the big jump all of a sudden, though. I think you're just looking at the rest of the West. And part of the reason why I think Brady's number is so short is they just assume that he's already wrapped up the West nomination. Whereas in the East, you got sort of Bo getting into the picture. But then I think you're looking at, if it's not Brady Oliveira, who is it? And I would assume that people have been going, well, maybe Milligan. Milligan, when you look at his numbers, which has been incredible. I think he's a lock for the defensive player of the year. Yeah, well, he'll be coming out of the West for that. Beveret's had a really good year, too. So I still don't hate our Trevor Harris sprinkle, to be honest with you. Well, if they win out and the offense looks good, I still don't think it's crazy. Now, it'd be tough against Brady, but I still don't think that's a crazy play.
No, and he's still up at 60-1 if you do like it. Although the odds will tell you that he's not even the MVP of his own team.
Because of Milligan, yeah. So
that's Milligan is right there. Back to these games for the week. So I'm going to take with the Bombers. BC 7.5 against the Calgary Stampeders. This has got to be a get-right game for BC. I hate laying this big of a number.
Such a big number for a team that's just not been good for a long time.
No, and their defense really stinks. But, God, it's hard. I can't support Calgary on the road. I don't care what the number is. BC, I think, gets out to a lead and does a much better job of holding it as opposed to what they did last week against the Ticats. So I'm going to hold my nose and lay 7.5 with the struggling BC Lions to get back to 500.
I hate it, but I think I'll probably ride with you on that one. Calgary just seems messy as well. And you mentioned BC Lions defense. I think Calgary could score points here, but you see Dave Dickinson? You see his response yesterday? He was asked. You have to go look it up. He was asked a question about if he's worried about his future, and he like dropped an F-bomb, and like Dickinson's on tilt here a little bit right now, and I wonder if that filters down to his team a little bit, and maybe it ends up like if it doesn't start well for them, I wonder if it gets really messy in this game against the Lions. So I'll come with you on BC minus 7.5, but don't necessarily love it.
All right. What about okay, what's the Elks situation? Listen, they obviously have to win. I mean, they
have to win, and it would be a big one against the Riders.
They're at home. Do they rebound after these two games against Winnipeg, or did the Bombers basically put them into the coffin and the door closes on Friday night?
All I know is that when they take the field on Saturday, it will be to a course of booze at Commonwealth because MBT will be rolled out as a starter for another week when a fan base that's desperate to see Trey Ford down the stretch, a coaching staff that says they're totally fine with Trey Ford. But we've seen reports from Farhan that like somebody, I don't even know who this mystery man is, that would be negotiating a contract with Trey Ford, yet they don't want to play him in this. I said last week before the game, I said, I think MBT is better suited to go at it with the Bombers this week. But regardless of what happens, I go back to Trey Ford against the Riders because A, you got to see what he has still, and B, he's smoked the Riders whenever he's played them. He's toyed with the Riders, and they're like I don't know. We were asked today on 3 Questions Too Many today on the Nielsen show. It was like, what is the main reason? I think it was what is the main reason you're sticking with MBT at this point? And I don't necessarily have an answer for you, House. Outside of, like I said, I don't have an answer. The only one I can think of is that the organization does not think highly in any way of Trey Ford, or else he'd probably get this start. Because MBT's coming off a loss, however you want to cut it. He's coming off a loss, put up some touchdowns in garbage time. Like, I don't know, man. It's very interesting.
Listen, I think they blew it back-to-back weeks. Like I said to you, I think they should have started MBT in that first game. And if he lost or whatever, then you bring Trey Ford back in for the game in Winnipeg. But it was the opposite of that. And, we all saw how it ended. Although you can't really hang the 50 burger on
the defense sucked
too. Or anybody.
I mean, you could have put together a drive early in the game. You know, you could have done something to keep the football away from the Bombers, right? Like there's always a little bit of blame to go around. I mean, I would not be surprised if the Elks do win this game against the Riders. Oh boy.
2 points. And again, I thought originally that the Elks might be a short favorite.
Yeah.
And they're actually getting 2 points. So just based on that alone, I'm taking Edmonton.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a big play, I don't think, although I'll probably I'm going to put them together because have you been paying attention to the standings in our year-long CFL?
I didn't know. Well, I've been in and out. Is it you and Glue Guy at the top?
Well, the Glue Guy, I think 3 weeks ago was 7 games up on me. He was huge.
Well, you're in the all-time run right now.
Yeah, exactly. The only game that I've lost in the last 2 weeks, I'm 7-1 against the spread in this. The only one that I didn't get was Winnipeg, Edmonton, and I actually bet Winnipeg at the start of the week and won the parlay, and I used the 20% Coolbet CFL boost on that one too. So anyways, I'm going with Edmonton. I'm taking the 2 points, and I hope that the Elks can help the Bombers clinch the West Final, and you can make your plans to come out here to the Peg in November.
As far as the parlay go, and I do want to get back out there one more time. I need the tendies one more time. I always want to know when my last tendies are. I'm with you on the Elks. I'm with you on the Lions. We're head-to-head on this Winnipeg-Hamilton game, so let me ask you this. Ticats have put up over 30 in 4 straight games. This number is at 50. Do you have any thoughts on the total in this game? We saw what the Bombers just did to the Elks. They hung the 55 on them. It's a tough line here.
I listen, they're scoring. They're scoring a lot right now. The Bombers just put up 55. I mean, why don't we just take over 49
Take the
and a
over.
half?
Yeah, let's go over. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Winnipeg Hamilton over 49 and a half. The Lions in a get-right game at home against the Walking Dead Calgary Stampeders, minus 7.5. And then the Elks at home, +2. That'll be our CFL
We'll
parlay.
have to get it. You know what? Give us plus 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, +2.5. Yeah.
We'll take a half point for that. And
Look what we have here,
go
Huss.
from there.
Look at this.
Yes.
We'll do this because then Jake's going to pop on and we'll set up the Thursday nighter. So here's what we've got. What do you say? You're going blind unders, basically. What do you want? We got 14 guys on here. How many spins do you want?
Just random players?
We got pretty good. No, we got pretty good guys on here. We got, well, that one won't work. Let's see here. Yeah, we got, I'll just read them to you. We got the Ovi on the goals. We got Matthews goals. We got Kyle Connor goals. We got Matty Beniers points. We got Mitchkoff points. We got Patrick Kane points. We got Crosby at the 99.5 at +315. We got Timmy Stutzel at -112. We got Hyman at 74.5. We do have Bouchard and Vasilevsky trophies here. That won't work if we're just picking the unders on it. But Leon Draisaitl, 15.5 goals. Pasternak, 119. Bouchard, 84 points. So how many spins do you want? How many guys you want here?
Well, we're doing 5. We're doing 5.
Okay, we're doing 5. Okay.
If Crosby comes up, even though I don't want to go against him, we just have to go on whatever the line is. Not the +350.
Just that. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I mean, under the 99. Okay, I'm going to get these up here right now.
Okay, Huss is going to bet these as we spin them, just taking the unders no matter what.
Yeah, and wait a sec. Did you say you mixed in a bunch of goals?
Yeah, there's goals in here too. Yeah, we got the goals in here too. We got some goals and points. We got Draisaitl goals. We got Ovi goals. We got Austin Matthews goals. We got Kyle Connor goals.
All right, we really went star heavy here with with this.
It's a good test.
All right.
Yeah.
Give her a spin.
All right, here we go. Spin number 1.
First one.
All right, spin that wheel. You read the name, boys. Who do we get? Who's the first one?
Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane points. What is it, 63?
Okay.
63.5. I don't hate that.
Under.
63.5, Patrick Kane.
Boom. All right, so there's our first one.
All right, let's spin that wheel. There we go. Here we go. Let's see. Who do we got, Maddie?
Leon Draisaitl over under 50.5 goals.
Draisaitl, 50.5 goals. We're on the under.
All right.
We're on the under.
Okay.
The wheel has delivered the under.
I got to switch over to goals here.
The random wheel of unders is what we're doing today.
Leon.
Jake in the chat, he's also waiting to get on. He goes, poor Huss getting bullied by this wheel right now. Well, the Draisaitl unders, that's a tough one. He's probably going to score. Okay. He could score 50 would be okay because the number's at 50.5, right? So
exactly. As I said, I am quite confident that this exercise, when we revisit it at the end of the regular season, and they'll be in my open bets, they'll be right beside each other. I do think that this is the test. I'm putting $20 on each one of these, so $100 in total. I predict that the return will be in excess of 100.
All right.
We've got
here we go.
Goals. Kate, next one.
Next one. Spin that wheel. Who do we got?
Austin Matthews over under 58.5.
Austin Matthews, 58.5 goals. We're on the under.
Where are we here? Austin Matthews. I think I'm 3-0 already.
I'm 3-0 already. He likes it. He likes it. All right, here we go. Spin that wheel. Yep. Let's go. 2 more. All right, who do we got? Who do we got? Give it to me.
David Pasternak.
Pasternak?
Over under 119.
119.5 points. We're on the points for Pasternak, and we're in the under 119.5. Okay. I think the board might have just delivered a dub.
Well, that's plus 4.
Pasta.
That's plus 420? What? This might be the adjusted number.
Yeah. I'll just do the under the regular number. Under 104.5.
Okay, so it's under 104.5 is the regular number. Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, we're under that. Final spin. Okay. Final spin on the wheel of unders.
And if it's a repeat, I'm just randomly putting my mouse on something and
Matty Beniers
What do we got? Oh, no, Matty Berniers.
Matty Beniers. How many points? 54.5 points. Matty Beniers.
Berniers, under 54. All right, so folks, to confirm, if you would like to ride with me and the wheel, these are the 5 unders from the wheel of unders. We've got under 54.5 points for Matty Berniers. We've got under 104.5 points for Pasta, under 58.5 goals for Austin Matthews, under 50.5 goals for Dry, and under 63.5 points for Patrick Kane. $20 on each. We will add it up at the end of the regular season and see if the wheel was just.
Oh, I like that. Can't wait to follow along on that all year. All right, we're going to dive into the Thursday Nighter. Trev, can you bring Jake in? Let's bring Jake in from Coolbet as we get set for the Thursday Nighter. We'll be building a little parlay here as well. Jake from Coolbet. Jake, what did you think of the random wheel giving us the unders? Is Jake muted or is that us? Jake, you might be muted. There we go. He's back.
That's me.
He's back. He's back.
No, I was just going to say.
Trev, we got an echo.
So
there we go. We're good. Go ahead, Jake.
It's Huss's exercise, so that's what he wanted to do. I don't know. I can't for the life of me bet unders. Life's too short. Although I will say, I know we're about to get into some NFL talk. These low totals, the unders cash at a incredible rate. I've talked about it on the show almost every week. I think I saw they're 7-3 now. Any total below 40 is 7-3 now on the season to the under. So just something to keep in mind. There's a few on the board this week. I don't think I'll end up being on the show tomorrow. It'll probably be you two and Patty, unless we figure out the old.
We might look at a 4-man shot. We might look at it.
But that's something to keep in mind as the NFL season continues. Something we picked up a couple years ago, me and my buddies, just for whatever reason. There's a reason why totals are so low, and it's a plug your nose, take the under, and just pray for no points.
Yeah, we're just looking at New England Denver games. I mean, that's it.
Just with the wheel, though, Jake, this is just basically testing a theory because let's face it, when we look at all these ones, like, oh, I think this guy's going to have a good year. I'd love to know what the total of overs versus under bets are just generally with bettors, like for something like this preseason. I would bet it's heavily skewed to the overs, and with injuries and stuff like that, all it happens. So this is just we are testing the theory that if you blindly bet unders overall with enough of them, you'll probably come out right. So I don't know. We will.
Listen, I didn't say it was a dumb idea. I said it's not a fun idea.
Fun is spinning the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you, though. It is like the public tends to skew over. I think we all kind of do. It's a lot more fun, but majority of the time, unders hit just as much as overs, if not more often, right? And that's good for the book. When unders hit, it's usually good for the book.
All right, before we get into the Thursday Nighter, just very quickly, Jake, on the Jays, go.
Yeah, listen, you can't, it's the definition of insanity. Like last year, I demanded all these people get fired, and they're like, no, we just got to run it back one more year after not scoring any runs in that wild card series against the Twins, giving them like their first series win in like a zillion years. And then, of course, this year it kind of was like a shit show from jump. So the fact that they're going to bring everybody back, like I said boycott, I think at the start of last season. I think next year is a full-blown boycott. No watching, no going to games, nothing. Like, not even taking invites to games. I'm good. I can't watch this team. Until they clean house, I can't watch this team. Don't care about
What about the hot dogs, Jake? The hot dogs.
Yeah, listen, that cover, I haven't seen that cover yet that you guys were talking about. I'm getting it framed in my room, I think. I'm going to get the Toronto Sun. Wieners and losers. And, guess what? Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are both of those things. Wieners and losers. They're the worst. And they keep Schneider along for the ride. It's embarrassing, honestly. For a team with that does have a lot of talent, great pitching. Obviously they had to ship off Kikuchi because they were so bad by the trade deadline. It's so unfortunate. And I'm not the only one saying it. Kevin Dosman's out in the media this is BS. like he's talking some smack right now about the Blue Jays. Like he's like, me and Chris aren't getting any younger. Like, why are we wasting away seasons like we did in this past season? But you know what the problem was last season was the Ohtani gate. The fact that we didn't get Ohtani, they put all their chips in. We're going to get Ohtani. He's buddies with Kikuchi. They're going to go to this dinner, and then we're tracking the flight. Well, guess what? It wasn't even his damn flight. So then you get to the end of that Ohtani saga, and all the good players have been picked up, and now you're in a situation where it's like, okay, we're going to bring in old man Justin Turner. That didn't work out. He got shipped off. Like, it was ugly. It was an ugly year. If they don't make like some positive strides this offseason, how can you get on board with the same regime of how bad it's been? Like, I think my buddy, you know what? Let me see if I can pull up this tweet now that we're on it.
I was just gonna say it's not like Ohtani did anything this year anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, Ohtani didn't have the greatest season maybe ever in history. We'll never see it again, but whatever. It's not a okay.
Might see it again next year.
I have this tweet from a buddy of mine. The Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins era. They went 89-73, lost in the ALCS. That was the first year they took over in 2016. Then they lost all those big guys. It didn't really mesh. 76-86, 73-89, 67-95, 32-28 was the shortened COVID year. They lost in the wild card series. 91-71, 92-70, lost in the wild card series. 89-73, lost in the wild card series. 74-88. They've done nothing since they took over. Missed the playoffs in 5-9, 683 and 673 record. And the guy said, "How are they still employed? Like, what have they done?"
It's almost a decade, man. It's almost a decade. Like
my buddies literally said, we're about to turn 10 in the Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins era, and they've done nothing. They've
done worse.
That went to the championship series. That team, that 2016 team, was already built. They adopted that team.
They didn't do anything with that team.
Don't give them any credit for that one, and they've done nothing since. They've lost 3 wild card series. It's embarrassing.
Just speaking of bad management, though, a quick tip of the cap to the Astros, who were 2 and done, sold the absolute farm for my guy Kikuchi, and then never even pitched him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The only way they can get me back on board, the Jays, they can get me back on board is to bring Kikuchi back in the offseason.
I love you're committed. You're all in.
Well, and you know what? People would be fired up about that too, because they actually did get a pretty good haul for him. I mean, we'll see what things go. I just remember seeing how pissed off everyone was in Houston.
Yeah, they got one of their better prospects, didn't they? Like, yeah.
They got a few of them. They got a few.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a trade. And if he were to come back, he's so popular. He's a dog. I mean, the guy can pitch. It would be that would be a nice start. But the Jays offseason is going to be fascinating. I'm just stunned, like many of you, that it'll be the same cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, there's a lot of young talent on this team that they did bring in the trade deadline. Like, you know, you give them credit for that. But guess what? If you don't turn it into anything worth watching,
and if you can't manage it properly, what are you doing? Like,
it doesn't matter who you bring in, to be honest. Like, it doesn't matter who you bring in.
All right, let's dive into this Thursday nighter. The wheel this morning gave us a Drake London touchdown for the random wheel anytime touchdown score. So Drake London's already kind of covered here. Man, we'll have to do a full Jays episode at one point with Jake. Jake, I feel like I want to hear so much more, but we only got like 8 minutes. We got to get into the Thursday nighter. Huss, let's start with you, buddy. We're going to build obviously a prop on this, but the line's at 2.5. I think it moved a little bit. I think it was 2 this morning when we were talking about it.
It was 2. Like, if you want, the 2 is at 111, minus 111, and 2.5 is just about even money at minus 102. So if you get it at 2.5, you got really nice. It's minus 106. If you like Tampa, that's definitely where to take it. And I mean, again, we have seen 2-point differences. I mean, it's not like that doesn't happen a little more regularly now with the amount of 2-pointers and things like that. But the difference usually from 2 to 2.5, not huge. So listen, I've been on Tampa. I had them last week against Philly. I think this is going to be a real close game. But I think I do like the Falcons in this one.
Oh, wow.
Coming off. I kind of think that we were off the scent of Atlanta a little bit early on. And, that kick by Koo at the end of the Saints game last week, the 58-yarder walk-off, was so big for their season. They we're right there with the Chiefs. And well, a lot of teams have been right there with the Chiefs. They just can't actually finish the job. But I do kind of think short week. I think home field is going to really help them. And listen, I've got a lot of good things to say about Baker as well. But primetime Kirk Cousins, I know previously the record wasn't good. He's been playing a lot better, and I think we're going to see him in that offense get better. I mean, the guy's only played 4 games with this new team. We know what he was coming off of last year. I certainly won't be on any Alan Pitts props.
A great CFL reference in Alan Pitts. I love it.
Alan Pitts,
I had to mention the CFL drop there.
Kyle Pitts, excuse me. Let's call that CFL 110. But I'll lay the 2.5 with the Falcons in this one. And just one other quick note, and I'm sure Patty will have this involved in a primetime exclusive, but
It's already up.
the kicking prop for this, which I have bet, I'm not sure whether this is going to be kind of the new standard or whether it's just because of the kickers and it's in the dome and everything. But that normal plus 130, plus 125, plus 120, it's minus 114 on either side, the over or under the field goals. So of course we're taking the under, but minus 114, had to bet a little bit more than we normally do with that. But I'm going to ride with Kirk Cousins and the Falcons in this one. I think that this division is going to come down to Tampa and Atlanta and probably the Saints, and everyone's going to be 9-8 or 10-7. So the home field I think is big. I'm going to take the Falcons to keep it rolling after that big divisional win last week against New Orleans.
Jake, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I don't know. Now that Huss laid it out, the guy's the hottest guy in the world. Like, it's hard to sit here and make an argument the other way. I do think I'm leaning Bucks tonight, though. I don't know what it is. Just divisional dogs. Like, I'm just addicted to divisional dogs. I don't know why. That's how it is. But, I think the Bucks are a resilient group. I think they actually strive better as the underdog. 2.5's a nice number. I mean, if it got up to 3, I'd probably like it even a touch better. But
yeah, I looked at it. If you want to move it to 3, it's minus 133 right now. So
yeah, a little juicy, but yeah. I mean, we saw I think the Falcons game ended in a 2-point game last week against the Saints, and that was a difference maker. I actually saw a tweet. It was wild. It was like, here's 2 sharp sides of the day, and it was Falcons minus 1.5 and Saints plus 2.5.
2.5.
And it's like, how are those? And they ended at 2. And it was, both were sharp numbers. So if you got the 2, you got to push. And if you got anything else, really, if you got Falcons Saints plus 1.5, you lost. And if you got Falcons minus 2.5, you lost. It was pretty crazy the way these numbers can work and how good these bookies are. But I'm a little less confident in it. The one I was just looking at, though, since we do have playoff baseball tonight, and Huss, I think we got to give the Mets one more try. They feel like a team of destiny. I know they're the dog tonight, but I mean, in a do or die game, I tend to lean underdog. I don't think there's a huge discrepancy in terms of play between these two groups. I might go Mets money line, Bucks money line, plus 362 tonight as a little parlay. And we're going to be watching both games. So 2 dogs and see what happens.
I'm going to side with Baker Mayfield and the Bucks here, plus 2.5. Like, they've put together a pretty good resume already early in the season. Like, both these teams beat the Eagles. Okay. The Bucks crushed the Eagles. Now, the Eagles weren't as healthy as when they played the Falcons, but still, the Falcons so far this year have 2 wins. One was by 2 points, one was by 1 point. The Bucks have already banked wins against the Commanders, against the Lions, against the Eagles, and then they did lose to the Broncos, which was, I still don't understand what ended up happening there. But they've only played 1 game on the road. It was in Detroit. I thought Detroit could have played better in that one. But I think I'm going to hop on the Bucks here at plus 2.5 tonight. Once again, though, dangerous move going against the hottest man in the business, hottest man in the country. I mean, I should be on here wearing a fireman suit.
This is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer market correction coming tonight. And at the end of this, you look at the teams that they played and how they've been, they probably should be 3-2. I think they will be 3-2 at the end of it. So we will see. I do love a Bijan Robinson touchdown tonight. As much as I think we're going to lean, we're talking about the quarterbacks and who's going to get it. And you got Drake London, at minus 137, I was kind of thinking that number might be like minus 150, minus 160 with the way that we've seen running backs scoring. So I'm going to jump on that. Any other props or TDs that we like?
Yeah, should we try to squeeze in a little Thursday nighter here, a little lock shot parlay?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Got their parlay going and Patty.
So we got the touchdown for Bijan.
Go ahead. I can.
Well, no, I think Chris Godwin is just so targeted consistently in this offense. I think so far this year his targets have been 9, 9, 8, and 8. Like what you're getting from Chris Godwin. Now his total on catches is 6.5. So he'd have to catch most of them. Mike Evans was targeted 14 times last week. Mike Evans' number's only at 4.5. So I want one of these two guys. Huss, Mr. Smoking Hot here, do you like Godwin at 6.5 or do you like Mike Evans at 4.5 a little bit more?
You know what? I was actually hoping to see for some reason the Bucks receiving yards aren't up right now.
Well, Mike Evans is up. He's at 60.5, but you're right. Chris Godwin is not up right now there.
Godwin's plus 200. Like Godwin's the favorite to have the most receiving yards in the game. It's like it's 2-1 for Godwin, plus 210 for London, plus 225 for Mike Evans. Kyle Pitts breakout game, 16-1, most receiving yards.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm out on that one. That's not happening.
That's a lot of catches.
I know, 7's a lot. I
mean, you can see that the under is actually minus 127 on this one, and the over is minus 104.
Mike Evans so far this season, 14 targets, 8 catches, 3 targets, 2 catches, 6 targets, 3 catches, 6 targets, 5 catches. So I don't mind the over on the Evans yards at 60.5. Yeah, you can do that in one shot, right?
A couple chunk plays.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I like that. Mike Evans over 60.5. Jake, what do you got? What are you going to throw in here?
Oh, I don't know, boys. I don't want to steal the Dens bets, but I do like Mooney. I think he's been one of those guys where he's just been like a sneaky safety blanket for Kirk. Like when he's in doubt, when he's in trouble, he finds Darnell Mooney. 46.5 yards, I don't think is a bad number tonight. We don't have longest reception, but that's usually the one I like to take with Mooney is the longest reception play. But we could mix that in. Like I could probably get a number for that and mix that in if you guys would be okay with it.
I might worry a little bit about that with Mike Evans in the game, though.
With those other guys. why don't we just take the over? 46.5.
Yeah, I think I'd rather that.
In one play.
Yeah.
You can do that in one play. And I'm just looking at their actual receptions. The Mooney, like Mooney's over, it's minus 182 for over 3.5. Mm-hmm. If he catches 4 balls, I'm pretty sure one of them will be for 20 or 25, and he'll be getting to 47 or whatever that number is that we need.
Okay, so we're going Mooney 46.5 over, Evans 60.5 over, and a Bijan touchdown.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. What's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk, Huss? Right away here.
Well, lots on last night's Jets preseason game, the latest from training camp. Look ahead to Bombers and Ticats, a little bit on the NFL. We'll chop up the baseball playoffs. It'll be a busy one coming up.
All right, that's going up. We got 2 guys in goalie right around the corner here on Edmonton Sports Talk as well. If you're listening on TuneIn, iHeart, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. 2 guys will be starting up right away. If you're watching on YouTube, turn on autoplay. Stick around. We'll be getting into the Oilers preseason here as well. Boys, we will talk to you tomorrow.
Later, fellas.